Hey, I'm Brent Otto, Director of Business Development here at RoboHead. I'm really excited to introduce Susie Hall, President of Inside Out Design Leader Community. For our final session here at Converge 2024, she will focus on helping you as creative and marketing leaders to move business forward and faster. As always, if you have questions, post them into the chat, and we will do our best to answer them during the session or after. Now, let's get to Susie.
Hi there, I am Susie Hall, and I am so excited to be here today at the RoboHead User Conference because I am a big fan. And today, I am going to give you some tips on how to get what you want. So let's go. But first, why in the world should you listen to me? So I am president of community and customer engagement here at Aquent, where I have been for 25 years, focused on marketing, creative, and design industries. For the past 5 years, I have launched and built a community for senior leaders of in-house creative, design, and experience teams, including a creative operations group that I love, love, love. And it's called Inside Out. To date, I have hosted over 400 sessions facilitating discussions with leaders in our community based on topics that they choose in small format roundtables. And today, I'm going to share with you some high-level learnings from some recent roundtables that will help you get what you want. So here we go. Our roundtable was actually called Building a Business Case for Growth. And very quickly, we uncovered growth can mean a lot of things. Growth could mean the addition of headcount. It could mean getting external resources in. It could also mean securing the technology that you need to be able to get work done. So what we decided was what we were really talking about was how in the world can you get what you want? So we hosted 5 in-person roundtables recently. San Francisco, LA, Seattle, Chicago, and New York City. We had 38 creative operations leaders in attendance for those and over 8 hours of discussion on this topic. And I'm going to boil it down to some simple tips that you can use to get what you want. Yes, I'm going to say that a lot. So here's the recipe on how to get what you want. First, we're going to take a look at partners and how you can seek some unusual partnerships to help you get what you want. Second, we'll focus on choices, how to provide options alongside impact. And last, we'll talk about focusing on possibilities and discovering the power of what if to help you get what you want. Let's talk about those unusual partnerships. So very commonly, leaders go to their known partners. And sometimes you're even going to the people whose approval that you need in order to get the data that you need to present your own case. So what we found in talking in our recent roundtables was there are partners in other parts of the organization who may have better data and be able to give you even more support in those rooms where you need the help to get what you want. So a couple of leaders actually shared this one, and at first it was a little shocking, like going to the finance team. So isn't this the no people who are going to be the very ones to say, you can't have that? Turns out the finance team is the one that actually has probably the best data that you need to be able to support your case. And by going to them first and getting them involved in the process, they can actually advocate for your solution. They can poke all the holes early and not in front of your boss or your stakeholders for that matter. And they can help you actually get what you want. So think about bringing the finance team to get that information and get that support that you need. Now, my favorite one that we talked about was the audit team. In this case, there was a creative operations leaders who had identified an issue with rights management, and they really needed this particular technology to be able to make rights management possible and compliant for the organization. But we're having trouble getting it. So they went to the audit team and said, help us understand how rights management works and what our requirements are. And they uncovered a lot of information. And the outcome of that is the audit team was able to red flag this issue, which escalated it and made solving the problem more important. And they were ultimately able to get the technology they needed for rights management to protect the organization. And that came with the help of the audit team. Now, who would think of that? I don't know, but now you know. So think outside your normal partners and look for other folks around the organization who have the data that you need. Some specific benefits that we just reviewed. Number one, you can uncover data from incredibly different places that will be helpful to your cause. You can also gain their support and their advocacy in rooms that you are not in. Think about teams like finance and audit and legal and IT. They are often in rooms that you're not in and have access to data that may not be easily accessible to you. So think creatively about this. And as in the case of the audit team, they can create leverage for you. They can escalate your request and make it very obvious why you need what you need. So think about some unusual partners when you're trying to go get what you want. Number two, provide options with impact. So partners really want to feel like they are the ones making the decision and they are the ones making the choice. And often they are the ones making the choice. But if you're only providing them with one solution, one proposal, even if it has the best data to back it up and you know it is the right way to go, it's likely you might end up with a no and you don't even know why you got a no, just a no. So what we talked about in our recent roundtables was the importance of providing options. So options themselves are great. So providing at least two different solutions lets your stakeholders pick one. Woohoo, which is awesome. The yes and to that really is providing the impact. When you're able to say, I have these two proposed solutions, this is the cost of each and the potential impact of each. When you're able to put that in front of a stakeholder, all of a sudden they think about you completely differently. You become a consultant who has thought through what you're asking for and what benefit is going to have to your stakeholder and also to the organization. So be sure when you're providing options that you are thinking through all of those next steps and not just putting information forward that might get you to a oops, no. So the obvious benefits of providing options with impact, you can guide informed decision by giving more information to your stakeholders so that they can think through the implications of making the choices that they're going to make. You can also show off strategic skills because, again, you're about to be seen as a consultant when you're able to show you've thought through the problem, you understand the business impact, and you're willing to let them choose. And last but not least, partners love choices. No, wait. People love making choices and feeling like they have options. So that alone is a strategic way to get what you want. For those folks who are parents out there, you probably heard this already, but they say when you have a 2-year-old, you give them 2 options. When you have a 3-year-old, you give them 3 options. And that's a better way to let them feel like they're in control of things and learn to make decisions. Now, I don't know what the math is for adults, but I will say anything over 1 is very good in terms of numbers of options because then they get a choice. And last but not least, let's talk about the power of what if. So in this case, leaders talked about painting a picture of potential success or failure of the solution that you are proposing. So by painting a picture, in fact, let's be clearer, by telling a story or opening a story with your stakeholders that draws them in, you really can change the tone of the discussion. And again, it becomes a way less about, I want this, you should give it to me, and more like, we can do this together. Let me give you a couple of examples. So one side of the coin is to paint a picture of success. So one leader shared a story where they were working with a stakeholder and they started out like this. They said, what if you could get this recurring project that you depend on 1 week earlier? And based on the information that we're going to get from this cool new tool and resource that we need, you can also get the data you need for your monthly executive readouts. How does that sound? So obviously this beginning of a story draws a stakeholder in, and now they're listening. They're like, whoa, wait, okay, I get what I need faster. And I get that data that is going to make me look good to the executive board. And that's very important to me. So tapping into those needs and painting this picture of success in context of what you're asking for can help leaders choose to say yes to you. So paint a picture of success. Here's the other side of the coin. One leader shared a story of painting a picture of ways to avoid disaster. So this particular operations leader was in a financial services firm that was large. Obviously, there's a lot of regulation and rules around that. They uncovered a need to safeguard specific customer data, and they needed new technology to be able to do that. So they were advocating for that. And of course, money, that happens everywhere, right? It wasn't immediately accepted. So they said this: what if our company is the next headline for a data breach, just like happened recently with another large organization? That is a picture of disaster that your stakeholder does not want to be a part of. So by opening the door in that way, and you can call it scaring them, or maybe just presenting the risk of not giving you what you need to do what your role is, that's another way to bring stakeholders in. So when it comes to what if, this helps partners focus on outcomes, not just focus on whatever data you're putting in front of them or the specific request itself. They're thinking about what happens when I do this, or what happens if I don't. Because you open it up with what if, that imaginary state, right? You are bringing them in to co-create a solution, and you are also showing that you are thinking about what is next for the business and what possible impact there can be from making these decisions, just like before. This also evokes emotions that they can relate to. I guarantee you there's not one stakeholder who wants to be on the other end of not having funded this particular software that would have prevented a data breach. No one wants to be on the other end of that. So by evoking those emotions, you get their attention and you can draw them in to get what you want. All right, so let's recap those 3 tips. First things first, seek unusual partnerships. There are people around your organization who have the data that you need, can provide that support to you by being in the rooms that you're not and providing higher level context to what's happening around the organization. So think creatively and go to that scary finance team or lovely finance team and get the information that you need. Number 2, always provide more than one option so that your partners feel like they have a choice to make, and provide that along with the cost for each proposed solution and the potential impact for each proposed solution. That alone, just giving your stakeholders an opportunity to say no to something while saying yes to something else, can help you get what you want. And last but not least, practice starting your conversations with what if, and painting a picture of success, what it looks like to give you what you want, and of failure, what it might look like if they say no to your proposal, in order to draw your stakeholders in, be seen as a consultant, and ultimately get what you want. Hopefully you found these tips helpful and something that you can use in your own workplace to get what you want. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. And you can find me right here at shal@equent.com or right there on LinkedIn, Susie Hall. Thanks again for being here. And thanks for letting me be a part of the RoboHead User Conference. You got this.
Susie, that was great. Thank you for giving us some unlikely places to look for advocates. And thank you to everyone for attending this year's RoboHead User Conference. If you have any questions about Susie's presentation or anything else you've seen here at Converge, please contact our support team or reach out to your primary RoboHead contact. We will be posting recordings of this year's sessions and reaching out to our drawing winners. We look forward to seeing you next year at Converge 2025.